What's going on, legends? Welcome back to the channel. In today's video, I'm bringing you guys the tier 1 mission guide for the Crown faction. This one does consist of 7 total missions. Out of the first 6, you will complete 5 of them, and once you do that, you will unlock the final mission. You complete the final mission, you will unlock tier 2 for the Crown faction. A couple prerequisites for this specific faction. One, you will have to have completed tier 1 of the Legion faction, and the other part is you will have to be an owner of Modern Warfare 2. But before we dive into it, if you guys do enjoy this content anytime or find this video helpful in any way, make sure you show your support for the channel by going down below and smashing that like button. Let's go ahead and throw an easy goal of 100 likes on today's video, as well as if you guys like to find your way back to the channel for more Call of Duty content, make sure you do hit that subscribe button alongside that notification bell so we don't miss you in future videos. All right, first up, we have arms trading. This one's going to be a 3-parter. Part 1's asking us to kill 20 Al-Qatala soldiers. So the best way to go about this is to go into Al-Mazrah. Now, most of the enemies that are tier 1, if not all of them, should be Al-Qatala soldiers. So you're just going to want to go around eliminating those soldiers until you got 20, and then part 1 will be complete. Now, part 2 is asking you to extract 2 Kastov 74Us. Now, these are very commonly dropped by the AI on Al-Mazrah. So you're just going to want to eliminate enemies, and it also helps to have a medium or large backpack because you will be able to then stow 2 of these at once and still have your main weapon. So you're going to want to eliminate enemies until they drop the Kastov 74U, and then you're going to equip one as a secondary, and if you come across that second one, you'll want to stow that in your backpack. Then you're going to extract these safely, and part 2 will be complete. Then part 3 is actually fairly similar to part 2. It's asking us to extract 2 Vaznev 9Ks. Now, these are also extremely common amongst the AI on Al-Mazrah. So just like with part 2, you're just going to eliminate enemies until they drop the Vaznev. Again, medium or large backpack helps, as you'll be able to stow one of these in your bag. You'll eliminate enemies until they drop 2 Vaznevs. You're going to obviously equip one as a secondary. The other one is going to be put in your backpack, and then you will exfil safely with these, completing this mission. Next up, we have Golden Ticket, and this one is going to be a 1-parter. It's asking us to extract a Building 21 access card. Now, you can either do this on Ashka Island, or you can even dive into Al-Mazrah. Either one of them will work. Supply drops are a very common place that you can find the DRC Building 21 access cards, and so you're going to want to loot as many of those as you can in order to increase your odds. 3 of these drop on Al-Mazrah later in the match, and I think 1 or 2 of them drop even on Ashka Island at some point as well. So you'll definitely want to loot the supply drops, as they're a pretty easy way to get access to one of these cards. An alternative method is to actually go around completing contracts, just looting in general until you've saved up 40,000, and then you'll want to go to your closest shop or buy station, and you'll be able to purchase one there. Now, this is probably my favorite way to go about it, as I know you can complete a destroy supplies contract, and that'll give you a decent amount of money by hunting through safes, so you can easily go and spend that money over at a buy and get access to one of these cards. But once you've acquired the Building 21 access card, you'll want to exfil with it safely, and this part will be complete. Next up, we have Non-Discriminatory. This one's going to be a 2-parter. Part 1 is asking you to kill 8 Al-Qatala soldiers. So again, just like we did in the other mission, you're just going to wander around the map and eliminate the Al-Qatala soldiers, and this is best done on Al-Mazrah as we work into part 2. This is asking us to kill 5 Shadow Company soldiers in the same deployment. So you're going to need to find Al-Qatala soldiers, and you're also going to need to find the Shadow Company, and both of these can be found on Al-Mazrah. I don't think on Ashka Island this is doable, but if you guys go over to the crash site, which is new to Insatit Caves, you guys will be able to not only find yourselves some Shadow Company soldiers, but you might even see a couple of Al-Qatalas there, and you guys could wrap this up pretty quickly. Eliminate 5 of those Shadow Companies, and part 2 will be complete, wrapping up this mission. Next up, we have Recon Flyover, and this is going to be a 3-parter. Part 1 is asking you to acquire a Recon drone. Now, the easiest way to go about this is to just infill with one already selected as your field upgrade, and then if you have other people with you, they can also go in with them, obviously giving you more than one to work with, as that will benefit you for the other parts. Another great way to come across the Recon drone is just looting around the map. They are much more common here in Season 2 than they were Season 1, so I'm fairly confident you will come across them. But once you guys either infill with one already selected or come across one while looting, this part will be complete. And part 2 is asking us to tag 10 enemies with the Recon drone at Hafid Port. And my favorite place to do this at is over at the dock that actually leads to the sea or water vehicle gas station, as there's usually a few enemies wandering around over there. You will be able to tag the same enemy more than once. There's just a little cooldown period while they're tagged that you won't be able to tag them, and once that kind of wears off, you'll be able to tag them again, so you don't have to worry about it being 10 different enemies. You'll just want to have enough enemies to where you'll be able to tag them and then obviously get to tagging them again. Once you guys are able to tag 10 enemies, which simply just means you will have to look at them long enough for it to pretty much put a solid ping on them, you guys will actually get this part complete. This is much easier to do than it was in Season 1 because the AI aren't as aggro towards shooting the actual Recon drone. I was able to do it in 1, but you actually may need multiples to actually pull this off. But once you guys tag the 10 enemies, again, this part will be complete. And part 3 is asking us to kill 10 enemies at Hafid Port with a suppressed weapon. Now, the easiest way to do this is obviously go in with your insured weapon with a suppressor equipped, but if you guys are not working with your insured weapon slot, in order to actually do this, you can still pick up the suppressed M4 that many of the tier 3s will drop throughout one of your matches. So just get your hands on one of the M4s, whether you exfil with it and keep it for a future run, or maybe just come across it on the run that you're in and you're able to actually eliminate those 10 enemies with it. Either way, whichever way you choose to go for the suppressed weapon, eliminate 10 enemies and this mission will be complete. Next up, we have M4 weapons testing. This one is going to be a two-parter. Part 1 is asking us to kill 10 enemies from a range of over 100 meters with an M4 platform of weapon. Now, it doesn't really matter what weapon you choose to build. I definitely recommend either the 5.56 Icarus, the regular M4, or even the Hurricane, but considering that both the Icarus and the Hurricane aren't necessarily the greatest weapons, at least for the Hurricane's sake at range, I definitely do recommend using that M4 because you are going to be eliminating enemies at 100 meters. The easiest enemies to go for are the tier 1s because if you can manage to hit them in the head with a single shot, it still should eliminate them even at over 100 meters. Best way to know if you're far enough away is to actually ping the enemies that you're looking for, and there's a couple of different places you can choose to go for these. I think Turok Village is a great place because there's a lot of wandering enemies in the desert, and there's not a lot of stuff that intrudes with your line of sight, so you could easily find enemies that are 100 plus meters that way. You could also even climb the high buildings in Al Mazrah City and just look down below. Just make sure before you shoot them that you do ping the enemy to ensure that they are that 100 meters away. But once you eliminate the 10 enemies at over 100 plus meters, part 1 will be complete. Now part 2 is asking you to kill one operator with the M4 platform. Again, same series of weapons. You can use an M4, you can use an Icarus 5.56, and you can even use a Hurricane. There's a couple other weapons, but I don't recommend them. For this one specifically, I definitely recommend, again, the M4 assault rifle, but a Hurricane will do justice as well. As long as you actually down the enemy with either weapon and eliminate them with the M4 platform weapon while they're downed, it should still count as an elimination. Even if one of your teammates downs somebody and you finish them off with your M4 platform, it should also count as elimination. An easy way to go about trying to eliminate other players could just be going for a kill squad contract. It just depends on what size of squad you are working with. If you're solo, you might want to play it extremely safe. Maybe you'll even sneak up on an exfil as people are trying to leave and just eliminate one of the people from the opposing squad. But the good news here is regardless if you're solo or in a squad, all you have to do is eliminate one of the players from one of those enemy squads, and whether or not you stay alive or get eliminated is kind of irrelevant. But once you get that elimination on that real operator with the M4, part 1 will be complete. Next up, we have Whistleblower, and this one's going to be a three-parter. Part 1 is asking us to take the governor's laptop from the Ashka Island Town Hall. Now, the governor's laptop is actually located in the City Hall building. This is one of those main POIs that does require a key, so you will have to find a key in order to get access to the building. A couple of ways that you can go about finding keys is just generically looting around and killing enemies, as sometimes they can drop keys, and it will obviously be random which ones they drop, or you can try to increase your odds a little bit by taking out an AGT and hoping that they drop the key that you need. Either way, once you guys get your hands on the City Hall key, you're going to want to make your way to City Hall. It's actually across from the gas station in the Beach Club, which is also home to where the dead drop is. So you're going to go over there. I recommend opening the doors on the right. It doesn't really matter which way you go in. You're going to want to eliminate the few enemies that you come across pretty quickly. And behind that main desk area there, you will see a laptop, and it says the governor's laptop. It's actually right on that first floor. It's not too far once you go in. You're just going to want to eliminate the enemies to give yourself enough time to be able to grab it. You guys will grab that laptop, and then part 1 will be complete. Part 2 is asking us to take the laptop to the Ashka Beach Club dead drop in that same deployment. So once you've gone into the City Hall and you've gotten access to the laptop, you've picked it up and you have it in your possession, you're literally going to run across the street, which I will of course show you guys on the map, to the Beach Club dead drop. Then once you drop the governor's laptop into the dead drop, part 2 will be complete. And part 3 is asking us to deliver a screwdriver into the same dead drop in the same deployment. Now this is something I recommend actually grabbing before you even make any effort to grab the laptop itself, because you're going to want to obviously have this in your possession at the same time that you do the dead drop with the laptop. Now there is a few different places that I like to look for the screwdrivers. Now in toolboxes, they can be pretty common, and even on metal shelves or anywhere that you might see toolboxes, they can be around on the shelves or just in that area. But the Beach Club does have quite a few of those little garage type buildings or small shops that might have these just lying around. Again, look for toolboxes. Once you have the screwdriver in your possession, I recommend dead dropping it with the laptop, and then obviously once you dead drop it in the same deployment, part 3 and this mission will be complete. And then next up, we have our last and final mission, which is going to be Piracy, and it is going to be 3 parts. Part 1 is asking us to board the cargo ship at Hafid Port. So just in case you're unfamiliar with what this ship is, it's going to be the giant ship basically attached to Hafid Port, so you guys shouldn't miss it. Make your way out there and onto the ship, and part 1 will be complete. Now part 2 is asking us to find and take the shipping manifest. Now this is going to be on the far left of the boat, all the way in the top room of the ship. So you're gonna have to make your way through quite a few enemies, up a few flight of stairs, kind of wrap around until you make your guys' way to that top room. where you'll then find the shipping manifest, which of course I will show you. Now there's an easy strategy to actually pull off part 1 and 2 pretty simple. Even if you are solo in a team, it doesn't really matter. You want to make your way over to the light helo on the map, clear the enemies, grab the helicopter, take it over to the cargo ship in Halford Port, and you're going to want to land it at the very top. Then that way you can climb down a single ladder where you might meet up with a single enemy. You'll take out that enemy. You'll be able to grab the shipping manifest that is in that top floor, and you can climb right back up on the ladder, take the helicopter, and part 2 will be complete. Now part 3 is asking us to extract the shipping manifest. So the best recommendation I have is to go for a rescue hostage contract, as it'll be an easy way for you to kind of sneak off the map without other players possibly knowing of your location. The only hard part here is you will have to complete the contract, and then that could lead to a ton of enemies shooting you along the way. But I do think that the rescue hostage is a much safer option than trying to go for your everyday exfil, or putting the whole run at risk by maybe running into an enemy at that final exfil. Then once you safely extract the shipping manifest, this part and final mission will be complete, unlocking tier 2 of the Crown faction. That's going to wrap things up for today's mission guide. Thank you guys for all the support in today's video, all the support in the channel. I look forward to seeing y'all in the next one. Peace.